Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Denny Keltz again, and yes, we're at the Denny Keltz Show. And I know it's been a while since I jumped on here, but you know what? I got some valuable lessons from something that happened to me, and I learned something very valuable. And you know what? If you can share some value from the lessons that you've had to learn throughout your journey, it's like, why not? Because then people can learn from your mistakes and certain things that you've had to go through in your life, and then maybe they can handle their situations a little bit better. So with this episode, the biggest thing is I'm going to call this the power of your mind, because at the end of the day, as a man and as a human being, your mind can be either your friend or your worst enemy, and it's up to you. And it's up to you on how well you train your mind and how disciplined you are and how you strengthen your mental fortitude to not let anything into your mind. Don't let any weakness, any dark forces, any of the enemy get into your head and create lies and create doubts and fears that maybe you're not capable, or maybe the decision you made wasn't a good decision. And then you start second guessing yourself and doubting yourself as though you're not sure of yourself, and you lost all that belief. And I'm telling you right now, like whether or not you believe in God or not, and honestly you should believe in God, because there is a God. God is looking out for you, and when the devil is trying to play tricks on you, the first thing that the devil's going to attack is your mind. And he's going to try to get in there, and he's going to try to put doubts, fears, and insecurities and anxiety and all these things that'll hold you back from actually becoming the person that you're meant to be. And that's the saddest thing about your mind. And it's strengthening you or it's weakening you. And I learned a lot from a situation where the saddest part about it is what happened was somebody just let the devil get to their mind, and it led them to make bad decisions that affected a lot of people. And my heart goes out to them, because you know what, at the end of the day, like, I know God wants us to all love each other and not divide and separate us. And even I was struggling with that myself in my own mind, because when I had something happen to me, my initial reaction was anger and hatred and division and separation. And that's not what God wants. And I had some time to reflect on it, and I'm very thankful that I did. And I went to church, and God was speaking to me and telling me how to handle this the right way. And you know what? Honestly, you gotta kill people with kindness when they do you wrong, because you gotta understand that it wasn't them doing it to you. It wasn't them doing it to you. It was the devil getting into their mind, honestly. And whether you like to believe it or not, anytime that you made poor decisions in your life, or you decided you rather sleep in, or you decided you rather start on Monday because you're tired, or you know what, I'm just going to eat a few of these donuts instead. Anytime you had that break in your mental fortitude, that was the devil getting into your head. I'm telling you right now, that was the devil getting into your head. Whether you like to believe it or not, I truly believe that that's what it is. And anytime that I've made poor decisions in my life, it was because of that. It's because I let the weakness of my mind make decisions for me. So instead of me making good, strong decisions that a man typically would do, I wavered, like a leaf in the wind, where it blows one way and then the leaf just goes, or the wind blows the other way, the leaf just goes. You don't want to be like that as a man. You have to be sturdy like a tree trunk. You know how a tree trunk is, and it's so strong, no matter how strong the wind is, like, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to move. It's an impenetrable, like, your mind has to be impenetrable. You can't let gossip and weak people that are at a lower frequency get into your head and make you believe things that aren't true. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm saying when it's the devil trying to get into your head. And look, I'm not necessarily saying that those people that are gossiping and those people that are saying the negative things are bad people, because I know that's not the case. But they're mentally weak, and they let the other mentally weak people get into their head and shape their reality by shaping their beliefs with all the poison that gets into their head and makes them think that something is true when it's so far from the truth. And this is the biggest thing that I want you guys to take away from this when it comes to your mind is you gotta have that mental fortitude. Like I said, that tree trunk of strength should be your mind. Your mind should be so strong that anytime somebody says something to you about something, you sit back and you analyze it a little bit and you try to be logical and you try to understand kind of why they're saying what they're saying. And then you go to the source and you find out the real information before you make any rash decisions. And you know what? I failed myself in this situation with my mental fortitude because I let some things bottle up. I let some things bottle up for where I was working. And then I snapped. I had an emotional reaction. And instead of me taking my time to decisively, come up to a logical way of going through the process, I snapped. And that was a break in my mental fortitude. And then I seen a snowball effect. I mean, I know it was all meant to happen like that. But even myself with the whole situation that happened, I can reflect on it and be like, hey, you know what? If something happens in your life where it feels like it's really testing you, this is the thing. You got to just remember this. God is always testing you. God is always going to test you no matter what. Your life is just tests and battles constantly. Every day that you get up, every day that you go out, you have to battle and you're going to be tested. So sometimes you're going to fail tests. Sometimes you're going to pass them with flying colors. The first test, I failed and I snapped, and I lost control. But you know what? The second test came, and this was a bigger test. And I took my time to discern all the information, and I made sure that when I had the conversation that was needed, I didn't come from an emotional place. I came from a place of love, because that's what God wants. I want you guys to understand that. That's what God wants. He wants unity and oneness. It doesn't matter what you believe in. Honestly, if you're Muslim, you're Buddhist, you're Jewish, you're Christian, you're Catholic, I don't care. It doesn't matter. The thing is, you believe in a higher power. You have spiritual strength. You have a spirit inside of you. And when you start to understand that, that's when your mental fortitude will get even stronger. Because the mental fortitude that you're gonna build, it comes from your spirit. That's another thing you gotta remember. It's a spiritual strength that you have. And when you start to lose touch of that, and you lose touch of your spiritual strength, that's when everything starts to fall apart. Because the foundation is so weak that everything starts to crumble, right? And then whatever you thought was the right move, and you're doing this and you're doing that, no, man, it's gonna fall apart because it wasn't meant to be like that. And you gotta take all these lessons. And yeah, honestly, for me, the biggest lesson is always take your time to have a conversation with somebody before you have an emotional reaction. Don't ever just have an emotional reaction to something without finding all the information and making sure that what you're saying is factual and is true, and you have information that's actually true, that can back what you're saying and what you're deciding that you want to do. So that's the biggest thing. Honestly, you got to take your time, and that mental fortitude, your mind, guys, this thing in here, this is going to be the difference between you being the person you want to be and you being stuck in a life of mediocrity and misery and suffering. Because the saddest thing in life is to be at the end of your life and regret not actually reaching your full potential as a human being. You don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be somebody who just gives up on all their hopes and dreams and has no balls, no courage to go after the life that they actually want. And this is the issue that I have with most people, and that's sad. And it's hard for me to actually like have conversations with a lot of people, is because most people act as if they don't want a better life. And they act as though they're fine with the way their life is, when in reality they're actually settling for a life that they don't even want. And if they're actually authentic and they're actually being truthful with themselves and with other people, then they'll say, hey, I don't want a life like this. I don't want to just drive to the same job. I don't want to eat the same food. I don't want to have the same neural pathways that are already in my brain and just keep doing the same thing like I'm some type of robot slave. And most people are just a slave to their mind, which is the saddest part. And not only are they a slave to their mind, but they're a slave to the people that they let infiltrate their mind with weakness. And that's the saddest part about most people. And this is why you really have to strengthen your mind, guys. Like with everything that you're doing, be more disciplined, eat better food, work out harder, study more, learn more, develop yourself. You know, have a reasoning behind things before you do certain things, and like find all the information. Like, man, this is the thing. Like your mind can be so strong, it can be so powerful, or it can be so weak and it can destroy you. And that's another thing too. Like with something that just happened to me, like if I was a weak man with no mental strength, with no mental fortitude, with no spiritual strength, what happened to me could have broke me. You know, because there's a lot of people that it would break. It would break them. And then they wouldn't be able to trust anybody for the rest of their life. And they would go the rest of their life feeling cynical and not trusting anybody. You know what? But here's another thing. I'm going to leave you guys with this. Don't ever change who you are because of certain things that have happened to you. If people have done certain things to you, you know what? That's on them. That's not on you. And how you respond to that and how you treat those people is a testament to the character that you have as an individual. If people, remember this, if other people are talking bad about other people, anytime you get around people, if you hear people gossiping and talking bad about other people, you don't want to be around those people. I'm telling you right now, because if they're gossiping about other people around you, guess what happens when you walk away? They're also gossiping about you. And that's poison. You got to remember this. Your words are either fruit or they're poison, which means they can strengthen people and replenish them, and they're powerful, or they can destroy people and they can poison people's minds. And that's the devil. That's what I want to let you guys know about your mind. Make sure your mind is so strong and so impenetrable that you can't let any of this weakness around you get into your mind, because you simply won't allow it. And have faith in yourself and have faith in your strength, your spiritual strength. And you know what? If you don't have any spiritual strength right now, maybe it's time you find it. Maybe it's time you test yourself mentally and do some extremely hard, difficult physical tasks that test you mentally and spiritually. Maybe it's time you start getting closer to God, you start praying, you start going to the mosque, you start going to the church, whatever it is, doesn't matter to me. But you need to have that spiritual strength. But guess what? It's just like a muscle. You need to develop it. You can't just wake up one day and all of a sudden you're this spiritual being of power and think that you can just conquer any task and any difficulty that's going to come in front of you, because that's not going to happen. It's going to take time. And this is going to take time. So just remember, have that mental fortitude. Keep yourself strong no matter what is happening. You're always in control of your mind. That's the one thing that you guys have control over. And just make sure that you have control over who and what you let inside your mind. Because this is the one thing. Your mind is everything, guys. Strengthen this, make it bulletproof, and you guys will crush every aspect of life. I promise you. All right? Love y'all. Hope everybody has a super blessed day. Hey, hit subscribe, hit follow for more. Take it easy.